There's a video response for Eddie in New York. He's left me a couple messages on my cell phone and also my home phone, and I wanted to make a video response. I appreciate the support and the positivity and the messages. It was very nice messages supporting what I do, and I don't really like to talk on the phone too often with people because I do get calls from different people, but I need to basically get more of my videos out there in the public, and I like to make video responses mainly. So if people send me questions in email, usually I will answer the questions. And what I could consider doing is maybe like Skyping and then videotaping the conversation through Skype. That's something that I would consider, because then I could basically produce a video from the conversation to basically just let people know, more about my thoughts, and also as well as your thoughts as far as the Skyping is concerned. It's like a two-way communication. I'm sure you've seen me do this with other people such as Todai Ryan and Todai King, but I would consider doing that. But as far as talking on the phone, I can't really talk to all these different people, and it's not really helping the business grow or helping FMK reach out to more people. So I really like to make the video responses. So basically, if you want to talk more directly, we could possibly arrange a Skype conversation and then have it videotaped. Alright, so that's an option. But as far as talking on this phone is concerned, it's not something that I'm willing to do at this moment, because I don't really have, I'm limited on my time. And I really do, like I said, I like to get my thoughts more documented on video so that others could listen in. But as far as what you had to say, all the nice things you had to say about, it's just basically that you appreciate, and what I'm trying to do is just basically get the martial artists to understand that they don't need to step into the cage or step into the ring or hurt other people in order to demonstrate their abilities and talents. This is something that I've been trying to promote since I've been on here, is that really we have to have this understanding as martial artists, is that when you have power and we have the ability to hurt other people, doesn't mean that you have to actually hurt somebody in order to show them that you're capable. And athletes, in other sports that are not as violent, that are not violent in nature, that's what they do all the time. Golfers will play golf with each other to see who's better. It's not about like swinging golf clubs at each other's faces. Tennis players will play tennis to see who's better. It's not about like smashing somebody across the head with a tennis racket. Baseball players will play baseball to see their to prove their proficiency. They're not supposed to be purposefully bashing each other's heads in with baseball bats. I see that a lot of this world is directed towards a competitive mentality and a competitive way of expression. And the ultimate way is to liberate yourself from this competition altogether. But most people will not get to that level of expression, and they will have like a lower degree of that expression. And what I say is, if you're gonna compete, at least compete in a healthier manner, to take care of your safety as well as the safety of whoever else is participating. So when you talk about martial arts, you're talking about something combative, where you're talking about techniques of combat that could potentially be very deadly. I just see that you need to be very responsible with the way that you express it. And I don't really have to prove anything in order to indicate, how you could potentially gain a great audience and develop recognition for what you do without having to hurt other people. Because Bruce Lee is an example, Jet Li is an example, even Jackie Chan is an example, even Tony Jaa is an example. all four of those individuals did not have to engage in competitive sports or competitive or combat sport in order to develop the worldwide recognition that they have developed. Um, Jet Li, when he was young, went into the Olympics, but this was just a wushu forms competition, and Jackie Chan has been constantly been in film, and he's been performing all sorts of stunts to gain the attention of the people, and now he has the attention of the people. He is making millions of dollars. Bruce Lee didn't have to go into the boxing ring or into the cage or anything like that. He would develop very scientific and artistic choreographed fight scenes in movies to basically prove to the people and to the audience that he's somebody real. He's a real martial artist. He's not fake, and what he does is the real stuff. And as we all know, he's probably the most respected martial artist to ever live, and he never had to put anybody in the hospital or to really severely hurt somebody in order to show that to the public. So not all of us have to go the route of Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson, and you see what happened with Muhammad and how he is right now, and it's sad. His health is extremely deteriorated. The constant head trauma, it cannot not affect your health in a negative way. And even Mike Tyson, you can't be too intelligent when you get bashed in the brain so many different times. And if you look at these boxers, look at these cage fighters, I mean, they're like animals when it comes to like their viciousness, and basically their level of intellect is very low, because when your head gets jolted around so many times, your brain cells will start disappearing, and you can't really have the intelligence that that Bruce Lee did have when you get bashed in the head so many different times, or so many times. In order to be a martial artist, you need to have intelligence. You need to think like a scientist, and you have to be able to analyze, the combative situation, and basically, as Bruce would say, the art of fighting without fighting. Basically learn to handle a situation of conflict without actually having to get physical. So I'm glad that this person understood this, and just basically saying that it provides people with somebody to look up to, and that's kind of or somebody that could provide a different path. And that's essentially what I'm trying to do, is to let people know that there's a different path. Like, there's a path towards destruction. Like, you could be practicing martial arts, and there's two different paths you could go to. You either go to the path of destruction, or you go to the path of creativity and self-expression, artistic self-expression. So you practice martial arts, you could go towards combat sport and deteriorate your health, or you could go towards creativity and artistic expression and head towards more of the positive expression in the martial arts. I understand that a lot of people, they want to be able to make money, build fame, recognition for what they do, and that's why a lot of people go towards the combat sport. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that route. Some people do go towards Hollywood and try to make it in Hollywood, and I know it's a lot more difficult to make it in Hollywood than it is in combat sport, the case may be. But it doesn't have to be just Hollywood. I mean, we could go towards the basic expression on YouTube, like what I'm doing right now, and anybody could do that. You just express yourself on YouTube, and there goes your creativity, your artisticness, and it doesn't have to be violent. Other options we could go to is going towards the option of opening your own school and teaching to make money. And that could be a way, another option, where you don't have to engage in violent behavior in order to be recognized. You know, so I see that our expression could be better controlled. You know, there are professions out there that are related to the martial arts that you could get into as well. You know, being a police officer or working security or even working as a firefighter or just basically engaging in professions that are related to the martial arts could be another path other than this destructive path. You know, so I'm just trying to let people know and see that there are other ways of expression that is safer and healthier, and just trying to promote a more positive way in the martial arts. You know, it really does. It really is a great thing when I see that people, that some of the videos that I produce, that they are intaking some of this information in a positive way. You know, and to see that really is just boils down to, like, we're all just trying to get respect and recognition for the things that we get good at. You know, if you're a painter, you paint, a lot of times you want people to recognize your hard work. You know, like, you've been painting for 20 years and you want people to recognize your hard work. You know, I mean, when you go to work and you work hard, you want somebody to recognize that you worked hard, so then you get a promotion or whatever the case may be. You know, and it's not much different than people that practice martial arts. They just want to get recognition that they've worked hard. You know, and basically what I'm saying is that, like, we could demonstrate, like, our discipline to better ourselves without having to result in putting somebody else down. You know, so reaching to a high level of athleticism and demonstrating that athletic ability becomes something that is admirable. I use him as an example a lot, but that guy Hannibal, for example, has gotten to a high level of physical fitness, and he expresses it on YouTube to let people know what he could do with his body, and that's kind of an example of how you could demonstrate your abilities without actually having to hurt somebody. Even somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger, even though he did take steroids, but say he didn't, and he's just demonstrating his high level of development in bodybuilding, is something that's admirable. You know, you got to be able to find other ways to express your talents. You know, LeBron James is just playing basketball very well. He doesn't actually have to physically hurt somebody in order to get the fame that mostly everybody's out there to get, the money that most of everybody wants, and the attention and the women. You know, just realize that it doesn't have to be boiling down to you actually having to physically hurt another person in order to demonstrate your talents and abilities. You know, and I think that this is one of the key factors that will determine whether or not there is a martial artist opposed to just a fighter. You know, being a fighter is basically just being somebody that doesn't mind being violent. You know, and these people that think they're so hardcore, or they're a fighter, you gotta realize that, hey, you know, you're not gonna be as hardcore as the people that are in jail, because they just go all out with it. You know, so you gotta put yourself in check. You know, you think that you're good at fighting, you think you're hardcore. Well, you're nothing compared to the people that really are truly hardcore. I mean, they don't care about life or anything. You know, they'll kill you in your sleep. They'll drive by and shoot you down, not just you, but your whole family. I mean, they just don't give a damn about anything. And that's not something that we should be proud to be, or even strive to be. We need to understand that there's a limit to the amount of yang energy, or how much we want to make ourselves perceived, you know, be perceived as hardcore. You know, there's got to be like a gentle side to you, or like a compassionate side to you, and that's what makes you a martial artist. You're just not out there to kill. And that's one of the main differences between a fighter and a martial artist. you know, and I hope, yeah, there are very few like martial artists out there that are in the public eye, and that's why so many people are misguided and confused, is because there's not that many real people to be guided by, you know. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is just let people know that, hey, this is what the path that I've chosen, and maybe, you know, you could potentially learn something from this, you know, because you might have a million people that choose the path of destruction, but maybe you can inspire like maybe 1,000 people to go towards a more creative and positive path towards like your artistic expression, you know. And I know that there's good people out there and people that are talented, but they're just more so hidden. They're just not in the public eye, you know. They might be in other professions, you know, that somebody might be a doctor, somebody might be a massage therapist, somebody might be a police officer, somebody might be a security guard, somebody might be a manager at some store, but they have that martial arts spirit within them, and they're represented the right way. It's just that they're not in the public eye. And then who is in the public eye? Well, all the people that shouldn't be there, you know, all the people that are misrepresenting the martial arts are in the public eye, and it just makes it so then it puts more pressure on the people that are living the true way to kind of put a little effort into becoming at least a little bit more recognized, in order to show people that there is another path. You understand? I mean, just think of it like this, you know. I mean, say hypothetically you're in the Olympics, or you're watching the Olympics, and there's somebody in there that's doing something that's pretty amazing. Say he weighs 200 pounds, and then he bench presses like 800 pounds, and that he sets the Olympic record. And everybody recognizes him as like the strongest person in the bench press of all time. But say there's somebody out there that can actually do more, but he just didn't go into the Olympics. And he throws himself out on YouTube, puts himself out there on YouTube. He weighs 200 pounds and he bench pressed 1,000, and that's legit. He's not cheating. Like, that's really, he really did bench press 1,000, and he beat that Olympic record, but he just didn't go to the Olympics. I mean, that's kind of what I see that is potentially the case, not just potentially, but is the case on many times. Is you got a lot of these fighters that make themselves seem like they're so great and they're so talented, but in actuality there's people out there that are a lot more talented than these fighters, but they just don't compete like these fighters. And you could find them in everyday walks of life, you know, people that you encounter on a day-to-day basis, or just you find them on YouTube. You know what I mean? There's people out there that don't need to compete. They just express, and they've reached a very high level of development. And basically what I'm saying is it is clear that a lot of these fighters are not intelligent, they're not spiritual, and they're not promoting something positive for this world. You know, they're just showing like their violent behavior. And why are people looking up to these people? They might be semi-decent in some combative techniques, but other than that, why are people even looking up to them? You know, and if you yourself could already outdo these fighters in just even one aspect of development, what makes you think that they should even deserve your recognition or your admiration? Say there's a fighter out there, whoever the guy is, you know, say it's Royce Gracie or whoever the case may be, and you're looking up to this guy thinking that he's so great, but then you yourself am actually stronger than him. Say, I mean, you see him do pull-ups and he can only do 10, and then you could do like 30. You're like, wait, you know, I thought you're the greatest fighter, but then how come I could do 30 pull-ups and you can only do 10? And say the Royce Gracie guy, he can't even do the splits, not even close. But then you could do it yourself. You're like, wait a minute. Why am I looking up to you to be the greatest when you can't even do something simple like the splits? Or say the Royce Gracie guy didn't even go through college, but then you got your PhD, and you're like, wait, why am I looking up to you when you're not even at this level of intelligence with me? You know, so, and then this Royce Gracie guy doesn't mind going in there just beating up a bunch of people for money, but then you can't even find it in your heart to do something like that, so you just don't do it. So you just basically outdid him in the spiritual as well. You outdid him in the mental. And then what else is there to look up to? He just so happened to find somebody that he could beat up, and then now he's getting all this recognition for what? You know, it's like you could find somebody to beat up as well. If you wanted to, you could beat up your little brother, or beat up your little sister, beat up your mom, you know, beat up some random guy in the street. You could do that too. You know, so basically what I'm saying is pretty much almost all of these fighters don't even deserve the recognition and admiration and all the money that they're getting for just being violent. You know, there's a lot more people out there that are talented, that are just doing regular things in life, but they don't get all the recognition, they don't get all the money, they don't get all the attention or glory, but they are more talented. But they're doing something that's more respectable, something that you know, that you could look up to. So for example, another example is like, hey, you know, you got a woman, she has a decision. She could be a school teacher, or she could be a professor, or she could be a stripper. Okay? Or she's a school teacher, she makes $40,000 a year. She becomes a stripper, she makes $300,000 a year. Yeah, the money is there for the stripping, but look, you're selling your body, you're selling your soul, and what are you representing for the people? And then you got the girl that says, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get into teaching because I want to better the lives of the kids, and I want them to represent something positive. And I see that that's what a real martial artist does. You know, he chooses to represent the positive over the negative, even if it does mean that he has to give up some money. And that's even what Bruce Lee decided to do. He's like, you know what, I'm not going to be participating in any movies where you're putting down the Chinese. I'm not having that. He put the standard, like, you know what, it's not going to happen with me. And that's what a real martial artist does. He stands up, you know, for what's right. You know, and he's not just going to give in just for some money. You know, I mean, you know, that's what it makes to be somebody strong. You know, like martial artist is like Martin Luther King Jr., who's basically standing up for equality and what's right. It's not just about the money. But you got a lot of sellouts out there that will do whatever you want them to do for money. And that's not what a real martial artist does. And these people might be good at fighting, but so what? You know, it's not that hard to get good at fighting. You understand? So I'm just trying to show people another path in the martial arts, is that it's not just about, you know, it's not all that you see out there. There's more, a lot more to it, and don't get hypnotized to believe that these people that you see on TV are real. You know what I mean? They are not the real thing. I know for a fact that the real is beyond what you see on the TV like that. You know, because, you know, you could test your own body and test your own skills and put yourself up to the test in a more peaceful way, and you'll see that, hey, you know, these people are, they're nothing special. They're nothing big. You know, it's kind of like, say hypothetically, you're watching the Olympics, and these are supposed to be the greatest of the great, and you're watching the gymnasts, and the gymnast on the floor routine can't even do a backflip, but then you're not even in the Olympics and you could do it yourself. I mean, what's going on here? You know, how come a regular person is outdoing these so-called greats? You know, and that's kind of what's going on with these fighters, is they're nothing special. They're just violent people. That's all they are. They're just basically just a little bit less violent than the people you find in prison. And then all of a sudden the whole world's looking up to them. It's not supposed to be that way. You know, if you're looking up to violence, you might as well admire the people in prison, because they're really the most violent. They're really the most brutal. They're really the most hardcore. And if you start to understand like why are you admiring people to be violent, then you may switch it up and be like, you know what? I'm not gonna admire people that are violent. I'm gonna start admiring people that actually have developed talent and skill and are contributing something positive to this world. You know, so, but yeah, you know, this is the message that I received from this guy, you know, Eddie from New York, has motivated me to make this video response, and I appreciate the support of him and of everybody that supports FMK. You know, it's not easy to do what I'm doing many times, because I do get a lot of hatred and negativity, but in the same token, it balances out with the positive messages and the positive emails. And I'm just gonna keep moving forward and hoping that, you know, just getting people to think a little bit and just be a little more conscious of the things that you decide to do, and the way that you decide to express yourself as a martial artist. You know, and a little person like me, for example, if I can make a difference, then other people obviously can make a difference. And if we all come together and represent something more positive, then hey, we can have a bigger impact on the society in a positive manner and kind of represent something more real, you know. And yeah, like I said, you know, if you want to, the people out there that want to conversate and whatnot, we could potentially do so via Skype. If not, just go ahead and send me the questions via email, and I'll answer the questions if I have the time. And keep training hard, and just remember to admire the right people in this world. You know, if there's only, you're better off like admiring Bruce Lee in the martial arts for your whole life than to be focused on like 200 different fighters that are not heading towards the correct path. You know, I mean, in your lifetime, there's only going to be a few greats. In my lifetime, in basketball, it's just Michael Jordan. In boxing, it's just Muhammad Ali. In martial arts, it's just Bruce Lee. You know, you're not going to encounter that many greats in your life. So basically, make sure you select the people that you admire carefully, so then you'll be guided in the correct direction. You know, and going towards something positive in your life.